Hey everybody, thanks for checking in. The next piece conversation is going to be around your relationship with money, your upbringing with money. Money is one of those things that is intertwined in our society, and every single person has a different perspective, a different relationship with money, and it's something that maybe a lot of people don't talk about. But I wanted to just push pause and think about that for a second for each one of you, and I'll share a little bit about my story. But um, as we grew up, what we do today, our behaviors, our actions, you think about morals and you think about, core values, but you also think about money behaviors, right? Money is such an important tool in our life, everyday life, that, sometimes we overshadow the things that we do or the things that we say. Maybe even the words we use with our kids can be money lessons. And it's just something to think about as I think about being a better parent, and where did I get my core values and where did I learn about money. It's really from my upbringing, right? It came from watching my parents handle money, work really hard, build a career, and it was reflective of the things that we had. And some of those as a kid you don't really pay attention to, but as you get older you start to think back, and you might end up doing the same things, positive or negative, that your parents or your family that raised you did. And it could be unconscious, right, sometimes, or subconscious, right? But those are just things that I think everybody should think about before you kind of take the next step in the journey. Is what is your current position? What is your current relationship with money? Good, bad. Just because you had maybe a bad history with money or a bad relationship doesn't define who you'll become, but it definitely might explain who you are today, and why you do certain things, or what's the direct correlation to some of those actions. You might have seen maybe your parents use their credit cards all the time, right? And there was always maybe fights at the dinner table about money. Those things sink in, and again, that might bring out some negative things for some folks, but those are real moments, and they shape who we become. And so, I want to share a little bit about me, but I was fortunate. My parents are still together. They moved here, immigrated from India, a couple years before I was born, and we lived a very good, solid, upper middle class life. And I was very fortunate to have loving parents who, their beliefs were hard work and education, and they gave me all the tools in the world to be successful. And they sacrificed everything for me so that I could have the American dream and be here and live a good life. And I'm fortunate to still have them in my life. They live actually near us now, and they're retired, but they worked their entire life for the way I see it is they worked for me, right? They didn't do a lot for them. And I want to make sure our kids are set up for that generational wealth that I can pass on, that they have to work hard, but they then can also pass it on to the next generation. And so I'm very thankful for what they gave me and brought to me. The lessons that I saw were, you work hard, you go get educated, and those lessons about, mortgages and credit cards, and I saw a lot of that. I opened a bank account, I think, when I was 14. I got a job working for where my mom worked, and working in a warehouse. But so I learned how to, work really hard using my back, but it paid well, right? It paid well for the time, and it was, I think, 3 times more than what I was making at minimum wage there. So just those things, things to think about for everybody. But a couple of pieces that I'll share with you, that as far as a place to get educated, regardless of what position you're in today, whether you're dead broke, whether you got some money, or you have a good job, or you want a better job, your position can change at any time. It's what you do, right? And so I'll share a couple of nuggets that I think are good, a couple of resources, I should say. As far as financial planning and some money, Dave Ramsey. If you haven't heard of Dave Ramsey, you may be living under a rock, or maybe you just never heard of him. But Google him. If you have iHeartRadio, he's on. You can listen to a bunch of his radio shows that are like 25, 30 minutes long. He is on the radio. Some people are really polarized by him. I would say, for those that need a ton of help, very, very basic elementary money, financial planning stuff, he is awesome. I learned a ton of stuff from him going back almost 10 years now. And some of his fundamentals are very good. A 6-month emergency plan or emergency account, right? We have that, right? I worked really hard to build that up, but that took a long time. So So 6 months of your monthly expenses, right, saved in an account, just sitting there. Now, we could talk about maybe putting that to work and investing it for sure, but that also gives me peace of mind. I sleep good at night that if I lose my job, I have 6 months worth of expenses covered, right? I don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about putting food on the table, paying the mortgage bill. Those are some basics, but Dave Ramsey, look him up. Another guy named Ramit Sethi, Ramitsethi, Ramit Sethi. Yes, he's another Indian dude, but he wrote a bunch of good books. One of the books I just listened to on Audible is I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And it's very good, very fundamental. Again, breaks down some of the chapters that I'll be talking about, but a good resource, a pretty funny guy, light reading or light listening. I don't really read books. I do read a few books, but I really listen to a lot. I'm just kind of one of those auditory learners or videos. So look him up. It's really good. And the third one is Bigger Pockets. Just Google Bigger Pockets on your podcast if you have an iPhone app, or Bigger Pockets has an app as well. They do a ton of shows. There's a young lady named Mindy Jensen. She and her co-host Scott something do regular interviews with regular old people that have reached financial independence or seeking financial independence. And for those of you that have never heard the term FI, financial independence, that's basically when you work for yourself, you have enough cash flow where you don't have to have a W-2 job. It's a journey, and it's great to hear about regular people that, committed, figured out a way through frugality, intense savings, high net worth, investing, all of those pieces that every one of us are starting to do. And I learned about this many years back and started to really try to find ways to take little pieces and put them into our lives. And I talked to my wife about it, and she'd probably go crazy if I brought it up too much. But there's ways you can really start to accelerate yourself. But it's those little steps, like I talked about before, little steps forward. Educate first. Think about what actions you can take and start taking some action. And that's what I got out of it. So anyway, what relationship you have with money? Comment below. Subscribe if you can. It's just pressing a button. But I'd love to hear feedback. If you don't have anything positive to say, just move on, Karen. But if you do have something that's an opportunity or feedback that you may need clarity on or wasn't so good, then and it helps the group, please type it in. I'd love feedback. I want to get better at these. And hopefully I'll put up some graphics on this one so it'll look a little bit cooler. Have a good day.